There's been a movement called Men Going Their Own Way, or MGTOW, whose followers are called Men Going Their Own Way. Oh, that's a mouthful. Let's call them MGTOWers. Now that's stupid. MIGs? Yeah, there we go. Miggers. There we go. Yeah, Miggers are men that I believe are the result of a feminist upbringing. That said, MGTOW is the greatest asset of feminism. Scanning over different Miggers writings, be it Reddit or elsewhere, it's easy to tell that these men, at least most of them, have questionable interactions with women, to say the very least. Check this out. Men going their own way. Oh, what the fuck is that? A fucking perverts? Yeah, that's exactly what it means. Anyway, men groveling on about their ways is an internet movement that claims to be the solution to feminism. But in actuality, they are the mirror image of feminism, without the communism, of course. It's actually a part of the same ideological family, if you will. Feminism and MGTOW are sister ideologies. Actually, I'll go as far as saying MGTOW is the greatest asset feminism has. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, I want to show you what sort of dynamic each one of these groups of people want. First, I think it would be useful to understand what a traditional dynamic in society means as far as relationships between men and women and how they work together. That's actually it. They work together. The traditional setup for society is that men are supposed to fill in women's gaps. Oh, fuck. Women are biologically complementary to men and vice versa. Think about it from a sexuality perspective. Evolutionarily speaking, women are attracted to status. They're hypergamous, while men are attracted to physical beauty more so. The reason this is because women look for a man to provide for a family. This guy has to have status so he could bring in food and shit, you know? But when a man looks for a woman, he's looking for health, physical beauty, so she could have and bear children. They complement each other. This is the basis for a traditional society, because it provides for the nuclear family, the cornerstone of civilization. In this configuration, you have man going out, providing for the family, and the woman building the family up, the homemaker, if you will. Both are very important, and their needs are met here in this system. In a feminist utopian society, you have women wanting to be equal, separate, and superior to men. A feminist wants women in every role, and they want to destroy masculinity. The goal of feminism is ultimately to destroy the West, because without men and masculinity, you lack a family. This is why feminism is so cohesive with communism. Both seek the end of the nuclear family. On the other hand, you have MGTOW. Well, actually, that's the worst transition I could give it, because it's really not the other hand. They're one and the same. They're no different than feminism. Just like in feminism, where you have this grand conspiracy of a patriarchy, the boogeyman for the Miggers is gynocentrism. A gynocentric society. They believe that women are given unfair advantages in a society, be it drafting, war, favoritism in court. And that might be true. I'm not going to argue about those facts right here, but the way they support these claims, it's very petulant. Something more akin to boys rule, girls drool. I've even heard of Miggers claim that they're a reaction to feminism, which couldn't be further than the truth. They were a product of feminist society. MGTOW is the feminists' greatest asset when it comes to their goal, the destruction of the family, because MGTOW wants to remove themselves. They don't want to have anything to do with women. They want to deprive themselves of a family. They want to deprive themselves of masculinity. They don't want anything to do with it because they were either never taught due to a feminist society, or they somehow hindered the development of their own masculinity, be it their fault or not. So where does this hindrance of masculinity come from? I personally think it's a combination of, helicopter parents, not letting your children fail, not letting them develop the confidence and assertiveness that they need to get through life. Also, the sexual revolution in combination with hookup culture that allows for openness about sex and multiple sex partners, and also the concept of equality. Although not exactly this topic, Red Pill Philosophy has an excellent video on this concept of sexuality. Here's an excerpt of it.
Don't talk to women when they're wearing headphones. Have you guys ever heard of this wonderful piece of feminist advice? So I was dropping it off the post office, and there was I was on my bike, and I had to stop at an intersection. There was this incredibly very attractive female, and she's wearing headphones. It just occurred to me, I was like, man, it's funny. If I take politically correct advice, if I take feminist advice, I could never, ever even say hi to the woman. It's a form of like sexual Darwinistic weeding out the weak. And only the men gullible and weak enough to buy this bullshit advice. You should never talk to a woman on the side of the street. You should never talk to a woman who has her headphones on. That way, the truly weak men, the truly men lacking confidence, the ones that these hot girls do not want to talk to, these men will go with their tail between their legs and go home and cry.
The current hookup culture that we have gives rise to three major characters, if you will. The first is the players, the active participants that get their way. Then you have the reaction to that, feminists, who come in sex positive and sex negative. And then we have the answer to the feminists, the male reaction, the beta cuck, who comes in garden variety white knight and MGTOW. The white knight and the MGTOW are the same character. They're deprived of their masculinity. They just react differently. The white knight continues to white knight, and the MGTOW just ignores everything altogether, goes into pasture and grazes by himself, not worrying about society. Who needs a family? And that's the major problem there. You're not solving anything when it comes to fleeing from masculinity and depriving yourself of a family. I believe the reason they go their own way is because they don't have the masculine traits to attract a woman. And by doing this, they're doing the feminists' dirty work. But let's take a step back. Miggers run away from the problem that's destroying society, the extinction of masculinity, the endeavor of feminism. Miggers are not going their own way because of the true biological differences they view irreconcilable between men and women. They go their own way because they were never taught how to compliment a woman, how to be a man, and what characteristics make up a man? Confidence, assertiveness, which is how you're going to be accomplished as a man, to get that status, to get wealth. That's how you get ahead in life. When Miggers drop their confidence and assertiveness, they're getting rid of their masculinity. They're getting rid of the drive to, become that CEO, to get that wealth, to obtain, to go after and pursue that woman. So yeah, they're going their own way, but they're going the wrong way. They're not solving anything. So when these Miggers bitch and moan about being red-pilled, which is a saying they use when they realize that women don't really want to go for the white knight or the beta cuck, they'd rather go after the confident guy who has a job. When these Miggers bitch and moan about being red-pilled, they're actually saying, no, I don't want to own up to my own masculinity. I don't want to be that. I'd rather just put my head in the sand and walk away from my problems. The whole going your own way thing is really counterproductive. And you know what? It's easy to blame a feminist society or women altogether. Miggers are so emasculated, so petulant, so petty, it's so apparent in their online writings. Let's look at a website. Let's look at MGTOW.com. In the About section, it says MGTOW, men going their own ways, a statement of self-ownership where modern man preserves and protects his own sovereignty above all else. Manifestation of the word no, ejecting silly preconceptions and cultural definitions of what a man is. Looking to no one else for social cues, refusing to bow, serve and kneel for the opportunity to be treated like a disposable utility, and living according to his own interests in a world which would rather he didn't. Sounds like Miggers are more like, I'm my own independent man and I don't need no woman. But let's just check out, to get a serious tone for this website, just check out the history page. Now this is embarrassing, by the way. The history of MGTOW. There has been much chatter about when MGTOW originated as a recent social phenomenon, but one would really have to pull the camera back, way back to Schopenhauer, Tesla, Beethoven, Galileo, or even Jesus Christ, if you're up to arguing that. No. An interesting quote from this site is, if MGTOW was a fire, then perhaps feminism is gasoline. I think the reverse is true. I'm a strong, independent man that don't need no woman. This is where the tone of this entire website comes to fruition. Today, you see modern women contemplating the shape of the earth. It's a video about Whoopi Goldberg bringing up a conspiracy theory. It's I guess, akin to maybe a straw man. Anyway, even though the question has been answered by men centuries ago, and the most civilized 6-year-olds have already seen a globe in a classroom, there you go. Women are stupider than civilized 6-year-olds. That's civilized 6-year-olds. This is where I'm getting the idea of boys rule, girls rule. It's just like, it's kind of petty. And I know what you're thinking, oh, that's just one website. Well, you know what? Let's go to Reddit. Let's go grassroots. Here's a post I found. I quit Facebook. I've been using Facebook for the last 4 years or so, but recently I've decided to quit for good. I got tired of looking through these posts of guys bragging about where they took their girlfriends tonight, how she's the one, how she's so special, and how she's the most beautiful woman on the planet, etc. I'm still thinking, come on, dude. She's almost an 8 and you're telling me she's the most beautiful woman? Fuck that fantasy-driven source of validation for females. No wonder Facebook is blue. I wouldn't even go into the detail of the leftist propaganda where they can even ban you for a different viewpoint. This is what I'm talking about. This is jealousy. I just, when I read this, it sounds like he's jealous. And there's a myriad of these posts. This isn't unique. This is just another one in the haystack. Here's another one. And this is the exact post that I'm talking about where I'm thinking that, maybe their interactions with real world women are questionable at best because it doesn't really sound like a conversation that somebody had. But anyway, this post is talking about a coworker that a Migger was talking to about reducing work hours, and she wanted to get married. So she says, with a smile, my strategy is to find a rich husband. And a lot of my friends say that they're retiring as housewives and their boyfriends are happy to support them. To which he responded, well, as long as they're happy, personally, I wouldn't want my partner doing that. And you know what she fucking says? How sad. This is the point where I lost my shit, because how sad is basically like saying, I'm a gold-digging harpy cunt. To which he responds, how sad. Feminism says equality, so they should both contribute to a relationship equally, right? Why should the man have to slave away for a woman to watch Dr. Phil and soap operas all day on TV? She just kept typing on her computer. No comeback from her. Modern day women piss me off. Now, from this post, it's like, okay, if let's say this was true, the reason why she responded like that was because you're a fucking weirdo, bro. You don't know how to react. You don't know how to talk to women. That's like a fucking irrational thing to say. And not only that, but as a man in a traditional society, you shouldn't want your wife working a fucking full-time job, or even a part-time job for that matter, because she's the fucking home builder, okay? These people are so angry at tradition. They are so angry at traditional roles for men and women. They do not want women to have a place in society, just like feminists don't want men to have a role in society. It's disgusting and sad. They're a bunch of autistic losers, as far as I'm concerned. So if you watch this, I hope it opened your eyes to see the true direction you're going when men go their own way. It's not really for your benefit, and it's the same road that the feminists go down to. So in conclusion, I think that the reaction is misplaced. It shouldn't be with feminists. It should be with the current culture, the current progressive culture that we have that's so open for sex. And I think that if MGTOW people really want to make a difference, like maybe they should go after realistic problems like male suicide or genital mutilation, something like that. Because when you go your own way, you're just not really making a difference. Thanks.